Good afternoon, everyone. I'm James Crummell. It's primary election day in Pennsylvania. Voters throughout the midstate are heading to polling places for races that will most likely affect your everyday life. Mayors, judges, city council, and also important, school boards. People in the West Shore School District know that very well. They have two hotly contested races there. Seth Kaplan begins our primary election day live team coverage in Lower Allen Township. Good afternoon, Seth.
Good afternoon to you, James. Yeah, see that long line of people at the door there? No, you don't see a long line of people. That's part of the story here. Turnout is not real high right now. You tend to get more of a little bit of a spike later in the day as people get off from work. Folks we've talked to so far, retirees who say, hey, they come in the middle of the day because it is as quiet as it is. Again, not that we expect necessarily long lines for this primary election. You mentioned the school board races, James. Definitely on the marquee here in West Shore School District. We are standing in Region 2 of West Shore School District, where the board president, Kelly Brent, a conservative, is being challenged by Terry Mickle, who's been endorsed primarily by Democrats. Over in Region 3, the other school board race on the ballot in the West Shore School District, Brian Geiswhite, who has sided with the more left of center board members who are now in the minority, being challenged by Sandra Gonzalez, who is a conservative endorsed primarily by Republicans. Usually, notice how I chose those words, sort of endorsed primarily by Democrats, primarily by Republicans. These are races where most of the candidates, James, have cross-filed, so they're on the Democratic ballot, they're on the Republican ballot as well. And so it's a little bit tricky to sort of figure out who identifies with whom, but there is very much a slate of now majority members here who are more conservative in this district who took the majority 2 years ago, back in 2023, now being challenged by folks who in some cases feel the board went too far in that direction and want to bring it back toward the center. Similar dynamic, by the way, in Cumberland Valley School District, where the board similarly in 2023 took a turn to the right, and now you have challengers in some cases trying to bring it back the other way, endorsed primarily, some by Democrats, primarily by Republicans, even though in most cases you have people who are cross-filed. And in the case of Cumberland Valley, you have Democrats endorsing a Republican in a race where there are only Republicans running for one of the seats, and so they're saying he's sort of the most centrist candidate. So one of those situations in school boards where you do get those strange bedfellows, as they say, running for these races, but very much two kind of slates of candidates where everybody knows who's who, and will help you if you don't know who's who. Learn more about that. I mentioned the races here. Learn more about the races in both of those school districts coming up tonight, James, beginning at 5 o'clock, when you will still have about 3 hours left to vote at that point, if you want to stick around for that before you vote. But definitely, this is a good time to do it, as you can see, if you do plan to vote.
And Seth, I mean, these school board races, they've been getting a lot of attention nationwide, all over across the country, just because of the different controversial things happening in schools and people wanting to know more about what is being taught in their schools. So as you saw there behind you, not a lot of people were out there, but this has a major impact on your daily life.
Major impact indeed. So in West Shore School District, we're standing, for example, there have been you've had the issues of should transgender girls be able to compete against other girls in sports, those kinds of issues which have come up here and elsewhere. The board has taken positions on those issues, and again, the board here has trended in that more conservative direction based on the composition of the board here. And so, yeah, these are races, these are issues, as you said, that matter, and thus the races, James, matter very much. And you can see that, if anything, the people who do vote have outsized power because so few other people vote, right? So people tend to, there are a lot of people who vote only in presidential races. Those are important too. But the reality is that if you have an opinion about these kinds of issues in school boards, you have a disproportionate ability to affect the outcome in these races just because so few of your neighbors are voting.
Another great point. Seth Kaplan live for us there in Lower Allen Township. Thank you so much for that.